Picture this. The grid goes down. Maybe it's a cyber attack. Maybe it's a solar flare. Or maybe the supply chain just finally snapped under the weight of its own complexity. You, being the prepared individual you are, grab that tactical backpack you've spent 3 years curating. You've got the fire starter, the freeze-dried meals, the knife that cost more than your first car, and the topographic maps. You load up the SUV, look at your house one last time, and hit the road, aiming for that secluded spot in the mountains or the deep woods where you plan to ride out the collapse and solitude. You feel smart, you feel ready, you feel like a survivor. But I'm here to tell you that you just made the last mistake of your life. You didn't just start a survival journey, you just volunteered for a death march. The concept of bugging out, fleeing your home for an indeterminate location in the wild, is the single most dangerous myth in the entire survival community. It is a fantasy born from Hollywood movies and video games, totally divorced from the brutal mathematics of reality. Today, we are going to look at the physics of social collapse, the biology of exposure, and the statistical certainty, the Golden Horde. We are going to break down why leaving your fortress, no matter how imperfect it is almost always a guaranteed death sentence. Let's start with the immediate reality of that first hour. You think you're the only one with a plan? You're not. You are one of 300 million people who all have the exact same instinct: flight. This is where we encounter the phenomenon known as the Golden Horde. In survival theory, this refers to the massive, panic-stricken migration of the population out of urban centers and into the surrounding countryside. It's not an orderly evacuation. It is a biological, fluid, dynamic event. Imagine a pressure cooker exploding. The shrapnel, the people, flies outward in every direction. Within 4 hours of a major confirmed collapse event, every major artery leaving every city in the developed world will be a parking lot. But it's not just traffic, it's a trap. Modern highways are designed for flow, not storage. When thousands of cars stop moving, they don't just sit there, they idle. They burn fuel. And when that fuel runs out, those cars become 2-ton steel bricks. They block the lanes permanently. Tow trucks aren't coming. The police aren't clearing the shoulder. That highway becomes a linear refugee camp within 6 hours. And this is where the math kills you. Let's talk about fuel scarcity. Most modern vehicles have a range of maybe 300 to 400 miles in a full tank. But be honest with yourself. Is your tank full right now? Probably not. Let's say you have half a tank. In stop-and-go panic traffic, your fuel efficiency drops to near zero. You aren't getting out of the county, let alone the state. And once you run dry, you are a pedestrian carrying 80 pounds of gear in a sea of desperate, terrified people who realize they are trapped. Gas stations along these routes will be drained within the first hour, or seized by local gangs who understand the value of liquid gold. You cannot rely on refueling. If you leave, you must assume that the fuel in your tank is the only energy you will ever have again. And statistically, it won't be enough to get you to safety. Now, let's look at the geography of the escape. You might think, I'll take the back roads. I have a 4x4. Again, you and everybody else. But even if you find a route, you have to deal with choke points, bridges, tunnels, mountain passes. These are tactical nightmares. In a lawless scenario, these choke points are where the predators set up shop. It's basic military strategy. You don't hunt the deer in the deep woods. You wait by the waterhole. You wait by the narrow trail. If you are moving, you are funneling yourself into ambushes. You are bringing resources, your fancy gear, your food, your vehicle, directly to the people who are waiting to take them. By being mobile, you are advertising your supplies to a world that has suddenly run out of everything. And let's dispel the romantic notion of living off the land. This is the part that really gets people killed. You think you're going to vanish into the woods and hunt deer? Let's look at the carrying capacity of the land. In North America, for example, the game population is managed for sport, not for sustenance of 100 million refugees. If even 10% of the population heads into the woods to hunt, the forest will be stripped clean of all large game within 2 weeks. It's simple biology. There is not enough caloric density in the wild to support a modern population. You will be competing with thousands of other survivalists for the same squirrels and edible roots, and unlike you, many of them will have been hunting that land for generations. You are not entering an empty paradise. You are trespassing on territory that is already claimed, and the locals won't be checking hunting licenses. They'll be defending their food source. There is a historical precedent for this. Look at any conflict zone in the last century. Syria, the Balkans, World War II Europe. Who dies first? The refugees. The people on the road. When you leave your home, you trade a hardened structure for a tent. You trade a stockpile of water for a canteen. You trade a community you know for a highway of strangers. The mortality rate of refugees is astronomically higher than those who shelter in place, simply due to exposure and sanitation. Dysentery kills more people in collapse scenarios than bullets do. When you're on the road, hygiene is impossible. One bad drink of water, one infected blister, and you are done. In your home, you have a toilet. You have soap. You have a roof that keeps the freezing rain off your back. These are not luxuries. They are life support systems. So, why is bugging in the superior strategy? Even if you live in a less than ideal location, it comes down to the home field advantage. Your home is a castle, even if it's a suburban drywall box. You know every squeaky floorboard. You know the sightlines. You have layers of thermal protection. But more importantly, you have the psychological anchor of territory. When you are mobile, you are in a constant state of high cortisol stress, scanning for threats, sleeping with one eye open, burning thousands of calories just to stay warm and move. That level of stress breaks the human mind in about 72 hours. It leads to bad decisions, hallucinations, and fatal errors. When you stay put, you can conserve energy. Survival is a game of calories. Every calorie you burn hiking with a rucksack is a calorie you have to replace. And out there, replacements don't exist. Inside your home, you can darken the windows, reinforce the doors, and lay low. You become a grey man. You don't need to fight the Golden Horde. You just need to let them flow past you. The mob is like water. It follows the path of least resistance. It flows down the highways and out of the city. If you stay quiet, dark and unobtrusive, the wave will crash around you, not on you. But there is a catch. Bugging in requires a mental shift that is harder than hiking. It requires the siege mentality. You have to accept that help is not coming. You have to accept that the world outside your door has changed rules. You need to look at your house not as a living space, but as a defensive position. This means you need to store water now, because the taps will run dry. You need to figure out sanitation now, because the sewers will back up. But dealing with a bucket toilet in your own basement is infinitely more survivable than dying of hypothermia in a ditch off Interstate 95. Let's talk about the danger zone argument. People say, I live in a city. I have to leave or I'll be killed. Statistically, that's not necessarily true. During the siege of Sarajevo, the people who survived weren't the ones who ran into the mountains where the snipers were waiting. It was the ones who learned to navigate the urban ruin, who created micro-communities in their apartment blocks, who pooled resources. Your neighbors are your best survival asset, but only if you stay long enough to organize them. If you run, you are a lone wolf, and lone wolves starve. If you stay, you have the potential to build a tribe, and tribes survive. Individuals do not. There is a critical psychological window you need to understand. The first 72 hours. This is when the chaos is at its absolute peak. This is when the Golden Horde is moving. This is when the panic shooting starts. If you are on the road during this window, you are a target. If you are hunkered down, blacked out, and silent, you are invisible. The chaos will eventually settle. The fuel will run out. The mob will disperse or die off. The dynamic will shift from panic to endurance. And that is where the person who stayed home wins. You still have your supplies. You haven't burned 10,000 calories hauling a pack. You haven't been shot at for your gas can. You are fresh, while the rest of the world is exhausted. Now, are there exceptions? Sure. If your house is on fire, you leave. If a hurricane is coming, you leave. If a chemical plant explodes upwind, you leave. But those are specific, immediate, tactical threats. We are talking about the general collapse of society. In that scenario, the instinct to run is a biological relic from when we were prey animals on the savannah. It does not apply to a complex industrial environment. Your brain screams, "Run!" because it wants to do something, anything, to alleviate the anxiety. But the disciplined survivor overrides that instinct. The disciplined survivor locks the door, draws the curtains, and waits. The woods are not your friend. They are a cold, wet, indifferent biological machine that will consume you. The highway is not a path to freedom. It is a linear grave. The backpack is not life raft. It is a burden. The most powerful survival tool you have is not in your bag. It is the four walls around you, and the patience to sit still while the rest of the world panics. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. So, the next time you look at that bug-out bag and fantasize about disappearing into the sunset, remember this image, a line of abandoned cars stretching to the horizon. Doors open, belongings scattered on the asphalt, the forest silent and empty on either side. That is where the runners went. Don't be one of them. Stay put. Stay quiet. And survive.